The Red on the Rainbow is a theatre production inspired by the harrowing events that followed the murder of 16-year-old Matlhomola Moshoeu in Coligny in the northwest. The town of Coligny was left in turmoil as residents called for justice against the farm owner's son and his friend who killed Moshoeu for picking a sunflower. Staged especially for Human Rights Month at the South African State Theatre, the play seeks to highlight the racial injustices that have prevailed even post the events of the Sharpeville massacre. For more on this, we now speak to the writer and director of The Red on the Rainbow, Monageng Motshabi, as well as actor and narrator of the story, Barileng Malebye. Very good morning to you both. Thank you so much for speaking to us. A very significant time to highlight the injustices that we saw breaking out and unfolding in 2017, also the developments in 2019, a story that really shocked South Africans. A 16-year-old thrown out of the back of a moving van after being accused of stealing sunflowers. Really, really shocking story. Monageng, let's start with you. Let's start around the plot and what inspired you to get the story on the go.
So the first stimulus for the story was really a challenge in a writing workshop, so to speak, where I was tasked with thinking about a way of representing the idea of invisibility, how human beings can be rendered invisible, either by society, either by government. And I struggled quite a while to figure out how to express that. But Matlhomola Mosheu's story kept coming back to me. And I thought about how people in small farming towns, especially, live in a sort of apartheid reality, to be honest, and how 1994 didn't really change much for them. Not that it changed a lot for most people, but I think it heightened how for them apartheid is still, present. So really that's how I was drawn into it, to see how I could make visible those who have been rendered invisible in this kind of way.
And Barileng, you're an actor, an actress and a narrator of this heart-moving production. What role do you play as you narrate the piece and perhaps narrate it in a way that really resonates with the audience?
Hi, good morning. So the piece is an ensemble piece, meaning it encompasses, or it's a group type of storytelling. So I am a narrator at one point, and I play a character or two characters, one in the show. So I tend to move in and out as a narrator and as an actor, along with other actors in the show.
Monageng, just going back to what you were speaking about and the emphasis of this northwest town and how it heightened the presence of apartheid, especially looking at as journalists started going into the town to really get a sense of the climate within the town. There were even, I think I remember, a pharmacy that one colleague went into that was not willing to serve anyone who happened to be black, and also more welcoming to a white person who wanted to buy whatever they needed from that pharmacy, speaking to the deeply entrenched problem of racism.
Yes. I mean, in towns like that, in Ventersdorp or Parys, you find, in Ventersdorp there were stories of a doctor who had separate doors for patients. Black people had one entrance, white people had another. The list is endless. So it still goes on and on and on, because of course there's a refusal to recognize the humanity of black people, to really see black people as human beings. And it's there. It's not just in those small towns. It's a thing that's really itching under a lot of white skins in this country.
Barileng, how do you depict and portray this story of Coligny, which really speaks to a story of two different worlds?
Like I said, it's an ensemble piece, and under the guidance of Monageng, with a lot of research and a lot of guidance. We go in and out as as actors. I don't know how to really say depict, but as an actor, you have to find the truth in whatever moment, in whatever piece that is given to you, whether it be playing a white Afrikaner, whether it be playing a Jewish person, whether it be playing a black South African somebody. You just have to find the truth in that, and that's how I depict it. And like I said, of course, under the directorship and guidance of Monageng and other people in the space, you go in and out, and you find yourself actually doing it truthfully. So, yeah.
And what would you say were some of the highlights there as you go in and out of the role and the characters?
Well, first of all, the process was rather interesting, interesting in a good way. Where you get to play a black body that has never known justice, that has never known what peace is, what being right in a moment is, and then from one moment you get to play a very self-entitled, loud, oppressive somebody. It's really hard. I also get to play this black body that is dependent on drugs, and psychologically it's something else. Physically it's something else. It takes you to a different, very hard space, and you get to really empathize with people that we call drug addicts. You really get to go into those spaces, and then you get to move into that self-righteous, I don't know, I'm lacking a word, space of that white body, and it's just tough. It's tough, but it's really interesting, and it's something to write a book about.
Yeah. Monageng, why did you decide to stage this production during Human Rights Month?
I mean, of course, I don't have the kind of power to make that kind of decision, but the South African State Theatre had the foresight, I guess, to present it during this month, because they are aware of the parallels of how, perhaps, this day, Human Rights Day, was called Sharpeville Day. And perhaps there is an opportunity here to reflect and to say, how far have we come from 1960? How much has changed? And in many ways, the Sharpeville massacre has not ended. The massacre continues. And I guess whoever had the foresight saw this and understood that the play could be a meaningful way of engaging and reflecting on how far we've come and where we find ourselves today.
And if you had to, sort of convince people to come through and watch this production, what would you say will be a takeaway from it as we introspect as a nation, and also given the sort of week that we've gone through as a country, looking at the impact of, advertisements, the advertising industry, black hair, and what it represents and signifies when it comes to the conversation around racism, what would you say this production embodies in terms of the powerful messaging?
Yeah, at the heart of the play is a quest for justice, and therefore what we hope to achieve in the broader sense is to inspire resistance, in small and big ways, to give people a sense that there is something that can be done, that they can be agents in their own lives, and we can find ways to really rise up above, what stands against us. That's the sense. But also we are making theater, and therefore we are also offering an exciting theatrical experience. It's not just an experience of darkness and trauma. We are hoping to give you moments of humor, excitement, but also really, really exciting theater making. We are drawing from aesthetics, that we are hoping when people witness, they will they will have some hope in the theater itself, that they will realize that the theater not only has power because of its messaging, but it's also how it's put together that allows for beauty to be experienced. So we are hoping to also offer an experience of beauty while allowing people to reflect and hopefully find the courage to resist in small and large ways based on each person's strength.
Barileng, Monageng talks about the emotional roller coaster, so to speak, as we go in and out of the emotions with the story. I mean, we know that we saw two men here, Peter Doornwoud and Philip Skutte, who were given a sentence and then managed to appeal it and essentially walk away free. And also how the northwest town almost burnt to the ground, with residents and community members really upset about this and venting out on the streets and torching buildings and businesses. Within that, within that scene, how do you depict those emotions and that intensity within the production?
It's funny you ask that. We do have something very similar in the show. And it's a rather cathartic moment for one of the roles, or one of the roles in the piece. You know what? Coming from the Northwest as well, it's so painful. It's so painful to be on the other side of justice. And this show really, really tells the story of somebody wanting justice for their only son. And like I said, it's cathartic in a way. In whatever form it happened, the release happens. It's so beautiful. I would say that coming or watching this show, there's a sense of relief, a sense of watching and rather experiencing relief happen in front of you. It's something it's beautiful. So I would really encourage people to come watch. And being someone coming from the Northwest Province, with so many injustices happening, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful to watch. So please do come through and come and experience this from a human rights perspective, from a human perspective. It's a story that really needs to be told.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Let's leave it there for now. Let me thank you both, Barileng Malebye, who's an actor and a narrator, as well as writer and director Monageng Motshabi, speaking about The Red on the Rainbow, a theatre production showcasing at the South African State Theatre, speaking about that horrific moment in Coligny, in the northwest town, where a teenager was killed for picking sunflowers.